Wait a minute. Is this that place?
Yeah, did you?
It was on the real world? Are you kidding me? Oh my god, it's great. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm so much more relaxed. Thank you, Helen. I just feel like I'm excited and I feel relaxed and I'm ready to party with the best of them. And I'm gonna go down to the river.
Are you ready to party with the business letter? And we're gonna go over to Word and quit talking like that.
Everybody go back to your seats.
Okay, you especially. You have 3 seconds to get back to your seat.
Oh, you can't get anywhere in 3 seconds.
Well, you better try.
You're setting me up for a loss already.
Okay, thank you.
Whatever you say, Stove.
It's Steve.
Stove. What kind of name is that?
Well, that's not a name. My name is Steve.
Are you an appliance?
No, I'm a man, and my name is Steve.
You're a flight attendant.
That's absolutely accurate. You can close that. Thank you.
In 3 seconds, everybody go open a new blank Word document. And in today's video, we're going to be learning the layout or the anatomy of a business letter, as well as how to write and properly format a business letter. So if I'm looking at this business letter, or if I look at some of these other business letter examples, you'll notice that each one is created on what's called a letterhead. Now the letterhead is always at the top of the page, hence the name. Remember, it's just like a header. Headers were at the top of our research paper, like the head is at the top of our body. Letterhead is at the top of a business letter, like the head is at the top of our body. So there's where our name letterhead comes from. And the letterhead of a business letter is going to identify who the sender is or the company that's writing the letter. And it's going to give us information about that sender or that company. So for example, if we look back at our business letter anatomy, this company's letterhead is right here. It was this box number 1. And we can see that they are Green Technical Systems. And then on the right, it gives us some more information about the company. Now this letterhead only gives the address, but most well-designed letterheads should have lots of information. So it would say name, address, phone number, fax number, email. Sometimes it'll be a website. But we want as much information in that letterhead as possible because again, the letterhead is identifying the company or the sender. So in this case, it's identifying Green Technical Systems. Now besides the company information, the other thing you should notice that each letterhead has is a logo for that company. But besides the logo and the company information, the design can change. Some have shapes as background of the letterheads. Some of the letterheads use bullets to separate all of the pieces of the company's information. Other times, a letterhead will use a border or a line to separate the company's logo and their information. So the design of a letterhead can really change. There's no set specific formula for how that letterhead has to be. So let's label number 1 in our business letter anatomy letterhead, and then let's hop over to our Word document, and I'm actually going to show you a variety of ways that you can create letterhead in Word. Right away, I'm going to go and save it. So I'm going to do a file, save as, and let's call this business letter test. So here we are. We're ready. We've got this saved as business letter test up here, and I'm ready to create my letterhead. Now, if you think back to when we actually made our flyers, remember that we had changed our theme of our document to match kind of the theme of the flyer? The business letter works the same way. Let's say I'm the Minnesota Vikings and I'm writing a business letter for them. I probably want the colors or the theme of my document to be Vikings colors. I want them to be, purple and gold. Or let's say I have a lawn and landscape business. I want my business letter to follow maybe some greens or blues like grass in the sky. I want to change the theme of my letterhead to match my company or my business. And if you forgot how to do that, it's pretty simple. We're going to go up to the Design tab on our ribbon. And you can either choose a built-in theme that you want for your letter, or let's say you just want to change the colors, then go to colors. So if I'm doing, let's say I'm going to do a Walking Dead letterhead, I'm going to choose these blacks and grays and whatever, because dead people are kind of bleh and boring. You can do whatever company you want, whatever colors. Make it something cool, make it something interesting. So either go ahead and change your theme or just do your colors. I'm just going to work with my colors for now. Now, one way we can do our letterhead is to contain it all within a shape. So let's actually try that first. First, we need to insert a shape. So we're going to go to Insert, here on the ribbon, click the Insert tab. Then we're going to do Shapes. And you can really choose whatever shape you want as long as it's going to be something that's wide enough to write text. So for those of you who might think, oh, it'd be really cool to write a lightning bolt. Well, if I draw a lightning bolt, it's not enough room really in my lightning bolt to do a lot of text. So if I don't like that shape, I can just click delete. And again, I just have to insert, shapes, and then I just pick a shape from the menu that I want to do. I would recommend something that's going to be pretty big to give you text writing abilities. I'm just going to do this rounded rectangle. And then notice when I've clicked a shape, my cursor turns into this crosshair, and all I need to do to draw the shape is click and drag, and it's going to show me where that shape is going. So if I like it here, then I can just let go, and I've created my shape. Now as soon as you've drawn your shape, just like when we inserted pictures before, we get a new tab on the ribbon specifically for our shape. Okay, and it's actually called Drawing Tools because we drew the shape. A couple things to notice with our shape that are similar to when we worked with pictures before in flyers. I can rotate my shape with that little handle up there at the top. I can use my sizing handles to make it smaller and larger. So that stuff works the same as pictures. I could also do a shape style, which is the same as when we did picture styles. So remember when we added like outlines, or if we added like bevels or glows or any of that stuff. Go ahead, insert a shape, and then why don't you add a shape style to your shape. I do also want to draw your attention to the fact that just like in pictures where we could change the fill or the outline for the border color, you can do that for the shape as well. So I could choose a different fill color for my shape if I actually wanted it in gray or a darker brown or a lighter brown or whatever. And I could also change the border color, that's that outline. Okay, so I could make my border color change. I could change the thickness or the type of a border if I wanted to do that. And then finally, if I didn't like the predefined styles, I could just do the normal effects over here, or I just would add my own shadow, or I'd add my own glow to my shape as well. Now that I've got my shape, I'm ready to start adding my company's information into that letterhead. If I looked back at my business letter anatomy, remember that's like the name of my company, my address, phone number, fax number, email, or a website. So actually, if I go and I click and I start typing, nothing's showing up. And if I clicked my shape and moved it, it's typing at the top of my letter. And I want my text to be inside my shape. Okay, so I'm just going to hit Control-Z to kind of undo this until I'm back to my normal document. And I want to add text to my shape, so go ahead, tell Word that we're doing it to the shape, click on the shape, then right-click, and we're just going to add text. Now my insertion point is inside my shape, and I can start typing my company's information. So, Walking Dead. Some more information, maybe like 105 Zombie Street, 555 Dead, www.walkingdead.com, rick@walkingdead.com. And you can resize your shape if it's going kind of crazy, or we can always format this text just like it was a Word document. So right now it's pretty big in my letterhead. I don't need it that big, okay? I want to be able to still write my letter on this whole sheet of paper. So I'm going to change my line spacing. I'm going to highlight my text. All formatting, remember, we do in the Home tab. I'm going to drop my line spacing down to 1. Cool. Now I can make my shape a little smaller. Then I could make my text more zombified. I could maybe change just Walking Dead to be a little bigger, bold. Maybe I change the color to gray. I add an effect to that text. I can change the font size and face of that text. So you can do kind of whatever formatting you want as far as text goes within a shape. One thing I do want you to notice is that right here it made this www.walkingdead.com into a hyperlink. So it would let me control and click to open this up. Now I'm going to be printing and mailing out this letter. Can I click on a piece of paper? No, silly. So I don't want this to look any different than my other text. So I actually want to remove this hyperlink. All I'm going to do is right click and choose remove hyperlink. So if ever you have hyperlinks like that automatically show up in your letterhead or within a business letter, what you want to do, if I just undo again, right click, remove hyperlink. We want to remove any hyperlinks that show up within the text of our business letters. So go ahead, add your company information to your shape. Make sure you've got your company name, address, phone number, website, and email. And then do any formatting you want to make that look cool. Looking back at the business letter anatomy, the only thing I'm missing up here on my letterhead is the nice little logo. And so to do our logo, we're actually going to practice using pictures or online pictures. So let's go ahead. We want to insert those. Go to the Insert tab on the ribbon. And if we were using a picture we had already downloaded, we could use Insert Pictures, but we're going to practice using the Insert Online Pictures button to see how we can get other pictures directly from the internet instead of having to save them. So go ahead and choose Insert Online Pictures, and this might take a little time for yours to load. Now you can search for a picture that looks exactly like your company. I'm going to type in zombie. Once I pick it out, if I want to insert it into my actual letterhead or my document, I just have to click it, choose Insert, and it's going to insert. But right now I have a problem because it inserted my picture into my shape and I can't really do anything with it right now except move it around in line with the text. And so I actually want to make sure when I insert pictures that I insert them somewhere else on the document, not inside a shape. So I'm going to just press delete that picture, and I'm going to double click somewhere on my document, anywhere outside of my shape. And I'm going to go back to my Insert tab, Online Pictures, search my zombie again, pick my guy, hit Insert, and now here he is. And notice that again, if we have it selected, we've got our own Picture Tools format. We can add picture styles, we can add borders, we can add effects, okay? We can crop it, we can rotate it, we can resize it, and do all that stuff that we learned before. So first things first, resize so that it's pretty small because it needs to fit within our shape on our letterhead. So resize it so it's pretty small. Now if I try to click and drag my zombie shape into my shape letterhead, remember it gets stuck in line and it's not letting me move it wherever I want. And if I for some reason get it stuck over here, it's too small and my logo is actually hiding behind my shape, and I don't want that to happen. I want it to be up next to my text. What we need to change here is called text wrapping, which if you remember is something we learned briefly when we inserted pictures into our flyers. And text wrapping will allow me to move my picture anywhere I want, even inside a shape. Text wrapping can either be up on the Picture Tools tab on the ribbon under Wrap Text. You can also right-click the picture and go to Wrap Text. Or you can click on this white little box that automatically pops up anytime you insert a picture to change your text wrap. There are two types of text wrapping. One that's called inline, that's the default. That means it marches in line with the text. You can only move it where the text goes. The other options, square, tight, through, top and bottom, behind text, and in front of text, are all considered floating text wrap. Okay, so we have inline, and then all of these are floating. And think of floating like you were on a floaty in a pool. If I choose one of these, I can float wherever I want as long as I'm within my pool. So our page would be our pool, and I could float this wherever I so choose. Now, because I want it to be on top of my shape next to this text, I need my text wrapping. If I click the little white box on top, so when I choose text wrap, make sure we do in front of text. That way, when I move my shape back, I can move my logo in front of text. So text wrapping, usually we want to choose one of these floating options. In front of text, we'll make sure that we're on top of the shape. Otherwise, if I'm in line with text, I can only move it in line with that text. So do make sure you've changed your text wrapping to the floating option of in front of text, and then you can move it in front of that shape, and you can put it right next to your text. If you wanted to have two logos, you could do a Control-C for copy, Control-V for paste, and you could put two logos like this. And let's say I wanted the skulls to face each other. Again, I'm working with this skull, so I'm going to click it. Up on the Picture Tools Format option bar, I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to flip it horizontally. And now I have two logos that are facing each other. So I don't really care if you have two logos or one logo, but do add a logo next to your letterhead information and make sure that you've wrapped the text so that it's in front of your text. Word lets you do some really nice editing things as far as your picture tools. And it's all on the Picture Tools Format tab up here on the ribbon. So let's say I want to get rid of the green on these logos. Make sure you've got one logo selected. Up on the Picture Tools Format tab, I'm going to go over here to this Adjustments, and I'm going to choose Color Options. And notice I can change some of my color options just here. I can either saturate or kind of change the tone. I could recolor my logo to a specific thing that's maybe more matching of my theme colors, or I can go to Set Transparent Color. If I click Set Transparent Color, all I need to do is wherever I see that little black point, if I click on that color, it's going to be transparent, or I'm not going to see it. So if I click on the green, I no longer have a green background. So again, I'm going to click on my picture, on Picture Tools Format, under Color, Set Transparent Color, and now I can click on one color to remove it. I can also do any corrections like making it maybe more sharpened. I could make it brighter or darker if I want to do any of those types of things. So working with the Adjustments group within the Picture Tools Format tab is one way for you to match your logo colors to your theme colors. At this point, you should have a shape at the top of your letterhead. It should have your company's information. Make sure you've got an address, phone number, a website that does not have a hyperlink, an email that does not have a hyperlink. And then you should have a clip art where you've done some of those things like go up to color and remove transparency or change the color of the picture. Some final cool tricks to spice up our letterhead include adding symbols between our information, like in this example, they have the little green C's, or also you could do lines underneath your letterhead to separate either your information or your actual letterhead from your group. So let's take a look at how to do those two things right now. To insert symbols, first you need to tell Word where you want the symbol to go. So you need to click your cursor to where you want your symbol. So if I want my symbol right after street, I'm going to click it and then I'm going to press space. Then all I'm going to do is go up to insert, because I'm inserting it, and I'm going to go over to symbol. And then here are some options that I have right here, or I can click more symbols, and it's going to bring up a bunch of different symbols for me. Now right now the only symbols that I have are from the font Wingdings. If you click here, You can also choose different fonts to do more symbols. Now, Wingdings, Wingdings 2, Wingdings 3 are great symbol fonts. Otherwise, there's also Webdings that works. Or finally, if you scroll all the way up to symbol, the symbol font works as well. I kind of like the Wingdings, the Webdings, whatever, just because they're more picturesque. So I would want to find a symbol that matches kind of my letterhead or makes sense. So I'm going to go here and start looking for something that's kind of zombie-ish. Spiderweb. Okay, so when I like this one, all I can do is click that Webding, and then I can click Insert. And notice this box still stays up, but if I move it down, it has inserted my spiderweb. So this way I could click Insert 3 or 4 times, and it's inserted 3 or 4 of my spiderwebs. When I'm done, I can click Close. So if I wanted like spiderwebs before and after, I would just click my cursor before, symbol, and now that I've recently had that spiderweb, it shows up there. I can press space. So you can add symbols in between your information to spice it up if you like. The last thing I talked about adding to a letterhead is lines, or in Word they're called borders, and it's found under the Home tab. It's a formatting thing, and it's in the paragraph group. And you can either do any of these borders. If you click the little down arrow, you can add bottoms, tops, left, rights, no borders, horizontal lines, or you can open a borders and shading box. Now the thing is, you again need to tell Word where you want that border. So if I want my border actually here, right below my shape, all I'm going to do is double click until I get my cursor there. And now I can go up to border, and let's say I want a border there. I'm just going to click top border, and it's inserted a border on top of my text. So if I typed text and I wanted a border below my text as well, it would be bottom border. Now if I don't like those borders, I can turn them off just by re-clicking them, and it turns it off like that. If I didn't want the top border, I'd re-click it and I can turn the border off like that. If you use the borders and shading box right here, it brings it up and you can choose different line styles. You can also choose colors. So let's say I wanted a brown border. Then I would just click top border over here, and I'd click OK, and it would add a brown border for me. So there's how you can add borders if you like borders for your letterhead. At this point, you should have a complete letterhead done on your business letter test. And now we're going to be ready to actually start writing our business letter. So if you don't have your letterhead done, take some time right now, work on it, make it look good, because the next thing we're going to do is actually write our business letter. So to start our business letter, let's refer back to that business letter anatomy. We know what comes next. So we've got box 1, we've got our letterhead done. Box 2 says we're going to have the date. And notice as you look at this letter, everything is going to be left aligned. It looks like it's in Times New Roman font, and it's single spaced. So I'm actually going to set that up really quickly right now. So on my Home tab, I'm going to make sure I'm on Times New Roman size 12, and I'm going to left align everything. And under my spacing, I'm going to make sure that I'm at 1.0 and that I see add space and add space. That means that I don't have any extra spaces. I'm going to press enter once more. So I've got space in between my line, if you have a line, and where I'm at. And it says I want the date. To make the date change, I'm actually going to insert it. So go up to Insert, and then we want date and time. So I'm going to click date and time. I want this third one down. Make sure you also have Update Automatically checked, and then click OK. And we have today's date. And now comes a very important part in formatting your business letter, and that is to pay attention to how many times to press enter. So you're going to see in the upper right hand corner that there's this backwards P or paragraph symbol that symbolizes when to press enter. So after the date, I see 1, 2, 3 paragraph symbols. So I'm going to flip back to my paper, and I'm going to hit enter 3 times before I start the next part of my business letter, which, if I look at my anatomy, is an address, and we call it the inside address. It's who you are writing the letter to. If I go to the Home tab and turn on my paragraph formatting marks, I should have 2 blank P's, and this is where I'm going to start typing out who am I writing this letter to. So maybe I'm writing it to Rick Grimes. Then I'm putting his address in. So maybe his address is 100 Zombie Street, Zombieland, Georgia, 55555. And if I turn off my formatting marks, so I should have my date, I should have 2 blank lines. Then I put who I'm writing this to, their address, city, comma, state, and the zip code. Once I have that done, if I look back over here, I again have 2 blank lines before I have my Dear Rick line. Okay, so back here, I'm going to hit enter, enter, enter again. If I turn on my formatting marks, I should have 2 little P's before I start. And I'm going to have Dear Rick, comma. So if I go back, reference business letter anatomy, after my salutation or my greeting, I have 1 blank space, and then I start writing my letter. And notice, any new paragraph is not indented. We indent it in research papers, but in business letters, a new paragraph just gets a blank line in between, and it's still all left line. On your business letter, after our dear, we want 1 blank P, and then we start writing our letter. So I'm going to say, I love your TV show, The Walking Dead, exclamation point. It is simply amazing. I also really like your website, www.walkingdead.com. And when I did that, notice it did put in that hyperlink automatically. We can't click hyperlinks in letters, so I always remove the hyperlink. Remember that from above, I'm just right click, remove, okay. Then if I'm ready for a new paragraph, enter, enter. Okay, again, remove. And my new paragraph has a line in between. Okay, so anytime we see the P's, that means we've got blank lines. If I turn off my formatting marks, then it will show I've got blank lines. When I'm done writing the body of my letter, I'm ready to do 1 more blank line in between my last paragraph. And then I have my closing. So sincerely, best wishes, love, whatever. So again, I'm going to press enter twice. So I've got a blank line. Sincerely. And then if I look back at business letter, I actually have 4 blank spaces before I write my name. And then if I have a title. So sincerely, enter, 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines, boom. If I'm not quite sure, turn on the formatting marks. 1, 2, 3, 4 P's. Good. Sincerely, my title is number 1 fan. Now the reason we have 4 spaces here is because that's where I would actually write my signature, and my signature would go there. It should look pretty much exactly like this business letter. If I go back to my test letter, and I'm going to zoom out down here at the bottom, my business letter is looking pretty good. So you should have your letterhead design, you should have the date inserted, you should have whoever you're writing your letter to, you should have the dear line, enter a body, and you can make kind of just whatever up. Just make sure you have at least 2 paragraphs, sincerely, and then your name and your title. Once you have that whole letter done, do a final save, because we are going to use this letter in our next video. So you do not need to upload it yet, just do a final save. And you're done for today. Woo!
On Wiedersehen.
All right. Why don't you go
I'm gonna go take a nap.
Yeah,
I'm tired. I'm
there
gonna
you
take
go.
a nap.
I think it's a good idea.
Catch you on the flip side.
I'm sorry. She's.
I'm leaving.
Thank you.
This should be open because it's civil rights. This is the 90s.
Right.
It's not. You're in the wrong decade.
You are.
Okay, I am.
You are.
Thank you.